Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your captain at Team Silverback. Today we have an amazing video. I just wanted to remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Matt with Team Silverback here. I just finished top 8 at YCS Anaheim, and I'm here to show you guys the deck that I played and talk about some theory behind some of the ratios and whatnot. It was an incredible event experience. I spent a bit of time preparing and testing, of course, and it's just very validating to place with a top 8 finish at a YCS. Not only lost in top 8 to Triff, so but let's get into the profile. So we've got 3 X Ryzeal, 3 Ice, 3 Sword. This is pretty standard. Every Ryzeal list is going to play those, and then the 1 node. Then we have 3 Engraver. I've seen like some lists only playing 2. I feel like playing the 3rd was good. Like, you just want to see it. And there were a lot of hands I drew 2, but I'd still rather see 2 than not see Fiendsmith Engine. So 3 Engraver, 1 Lurie, 1 Lacrima. I thought about playing 2 Lacrima, just because there are some hands where you only have Fiendsmith cards where 2 Lacrima gets you to do a drive, but that just plays into hand traps like really poorly. So I didn't wind up going for that line very much. I never really wanted to go for that anyways. So 1 and 1 was fine with those. For hand traps, triple Fulos. I mean, you kind of just have to. Like, it just is very good against like most matchups. It's really good into Malice. It's in the mirror, it's like not the greatest card because like good players can just play under this by giving you only 1 card with making a detonator, but then like 1 detonator is pretty easy to beat anyways. So like this makes your opponent play weird. And the other thing is like having level 4 to like combo with your Fiendsmith stuff. If you go first and you open Flawless plus Fiendsmith stuff, you can use that to play with your Ryzeal engine with Duo Drive, potentially. So triple Fulos, triple Droll. This is kind of like one of the weirder choices I made, but I thought there would be a lot more mirrors, and I thought Droll was just the best hand trap into the mirror. I did not actually play as many mirrors as I expected. I only played 3 mirrors throughout all the rounds of Swiss and Top Cut. But Droll definitely did put in work in a couple of those games in my mirrors. So it's pretty good. And then we got 3 Ash Blossoms. I mean, Ash Blossom is pretty mandatory this format. You just have to stop Mulcharmies, and it's just a good hand trap in general. Like, then I played 2 Nibiru's. I felt like Nibiru was slightly better than some of the other hand traps I could have been playing. I was kind of like, this was kind of more for like the day 1 Swiss rounds, expecting that players like wouldn't play around this card a little more, and it's also just very strong if you pair it with another hand trap. But this is like a consideration that I could maybe change and cut down to 1 potentially, or maybe like play more of it and play like more other hand traps. I'm not exactly sure, but the list was pretty good overall. Like, I don't think I really need to change much. So 2 Nibiru's, and I played 1 Effect Veiler and 1 Ghost Ogre for cross-out targets primarily. Although both these cards actually were very solid when I saw them in my hand. I actually drew both of them like a reasonable amount of times. Like, Ogre actually won me a couple of games, and then Veiler won me a couple of games as well, actually. So they're both like very strong. And then having these for cross out came up multiple times. Like, I cross outed Ogre probably 4 times and Veiler maybe 3. So it was very important to have those. Then for spells, we got 3 Bonfire. I'm shocked this card did not go to 1 on the list we just got. We still have 3 copies for a while longer, and while we have 3 copies, we play 3. It's broken. I don't think it's going to survive another ban list, though. 3 cross out. This was probably the MVP of the deck, to be honest, just because I was able to just stop so many different things with this. The fact that Fiendsmith is so widely played as well meant this was live against an opponent's Engraver sometimes. Like, if I didn't need to use this on my turn, I would set it, pass, and then there was one game my opponent activated Engraver against like Fiendsmith Cash. He started with Engraver, I cross-outed it, and it passed his turn. So like like this card is just very, very strong about like being able to just use it to play around every hand trap, but also just to stop Engine in the mirror match too. You can like cross out you can cross out any of like the Ryzeal names. Not that that's very good, not that you really want to do that, but in a simplified game state that could wind up coming up. It's just like another way to negate. So Crossout was very, very strong. Then we played 2 Talents. I think Talents was also very strong because, again, I expected a lot of mirrors, and even though I didn't play a lot of mirrors, just the sheer amount of hand traps people are on make Talents incredibly punishing. And yeah, every effective Talents was just insane. I resolved it a good amount of times, even for it being only 2 of my deck. Yeah, I still would like to play at least 2 Talents in my deck. Like, I don't think I'd want to cut that down. You sometimes have to side down to 1, like going first post side to make room for D-barriers and stuff, but I think Talents is still very good. Then we have the Ryzeal engine requirements, the field spell, and the plugin. I mean, I saw Triff didn't play plugin, which is kind of crazy to me because this card helps you beat Nib like a lot easier. But I still think that this card is worth playing. I mean, yes, it is like a bit of a brick, and the games that I lost were because I bricked. Like, I lost game 1 in top 8 to Triff, primarily because I opened 5 hand traps and no engine. And then my round 4, I just lost to bricking as well, like my round 4 against the Fiendsmith Ryzeal Mirror. But I think you just have to play the plugin. And Triff said he was even siding out Cross, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, I think you just have to have this card in your deck. But yeah, that's those. And then the Fiendsmith Tracked, I only played 1 of it, and I think in hindsight it might have been better to play more just because it is another starter, and at worst case, like, it gets you to Lacrima, which is a level 4, so it's like, I think this could have been better. I could have played 2, and I think that would have been pretty good, especially since there were definitely times where after turn 1 my engravers were dead in my hand, because I would open 2 engraver, and I would use 1 to search the Tract, and then I would dump the Fiendsmith in Paradise off the Lacrima at some point, and then I would not have a Fiendsmith spell to trap it, so the engraver was just sitting in my hand. But if I had a second Tract, it would actually like kind of do something, because you could put the Lurry back and then you go for the Lurry again. So I think maybe playing 2 Tract going forward would probably be a good decision. Then we got Call By. I cross-outed this card a couple times, which is funny. And then, this card is just being able to stop all Charmies and stop all the hand traps with running around. Like, it's just good. And then with all the Fiendsmith stuff running around too, like, you can just stop their Fiendsmith engine. Granted, that means that you won't have your, like, one of your pieces of the Fiendsmith engine on your turn, but as long as you have Ryzeal engine going, that's fine. Because with this deck, the great thing about it is you only need 1 of the 2 engines to actually play. And there were a surprising number of games where I only opened Fiendsmith cards and no Ryzeal cards, and that was still just enough. Because, like, Fiendsmith cards plus a few plus, like, 2 or 3 hand traps, like, and a Desiree, that's, like, pretty strong. Then we have Triple Imperm, and the Fiendsmith of Paradise. I think I could have been siding this card out going second. I wasn't doing that because I still felt like there were situations that would come up, but I think maybe it's more correct to actually side this out going second, just because the siding patterns were a bit difficult. But it was still those cards. It was very good though. For extra deck, 2 Duo Drive, 2 Detonator, very standard, no explanation needed. For other 4s, Exiton, Dugaris, Baguska, Dweller. Exiton, obviously it's a white fiend. Like, I maybe only summoned it once all weekend, but like, just the synergy with being able to go ice into this and then blow up their board and then Fiendsmith combo after that is just insane. And then the other ranked 4s I think these are all like pretty important. I know that Triff didn't play them in his winning list, but I think like Dugaris being able to draw into like D-barrier post side was really good. And then Baguska, it's soloed against a couple of my Tenpai matchups because they have no out to this card and they can't play, except for like Imperm, which their engine just doesn't beat it. And then Dweller, I actually never made Dweller the entire tournament, but I wanted to have it as an option for like Fiendsmith matchups or for other like rogue decks like Fire King or something. But never actually needed Dweller. So this is like the one thing that maybe could have changed, but considering like I think that Fiendsmith is going to be very prevalent going forward, I think it's probably still worth playing. And then we got the Aggregator and the Typhon. Aggregator, obviously, for the X Ryzeal. This card's insane to just negate stuff on the opponent's turn. And then the Typhon. I think I'm winning the Typhon twice all weekend. But I think you just have to play it because there are hands that you don't have a playable card. It's just hand traps. And if your opponent like plays through the hand, like plays into Typhon while playing through like a couple of your hand traps, but you still have like another, say you open like double Droll or something, right? And they played into this, and then it just can make the game like turn in your favor in a simplified game state, which is like something you need to have access to. And then we have the Fiendsmith package. So I chose to play a bit of a smaller Fiendsmith package in the extra deck because I preferred to have the rank 4 options for utility. I saw Triff was like playing more cards for the Fiendsmith package, which I do understand. Like Caesar and Chaos Angel and Necrogryph, those are all very good cards. But just making space was very difficult, and I couldn't really justify cutting anything else that I had already decided to play. So this was all I had room to play. And every one of these cards were, of course, very good and came up a lot, you know. And then we have side deck, 3 Berulia, 3 Lancia. This card actually soloed in my top 16 match against Malice. I Lancia'd him and he had no way to do anything, and I just like destroyed him on my turn. So we got 2 Thrusts, 2 Ultimate Slayers. Ultimate Slayer, in theory, was like the best card going second for the mirror, but I just didn't see it, and I didn't play as many mirrors as I expected I would. So, you know, it just, you know, I never resolved it all tournament, but I still think going forward, this is like the correct card to play. Like, I thought about Metal Tronus, and that card's also good, but I think this is a bigger blowout, and you want to play blowouts. And like Thrust, basically same reason, because Thrust is essentially more copies of D-Barrier. Yeah, D-Barrier is your blowout when you go first in the mirror, or it's like Tenpai. Like, I played 3 Tenpai matchups, and D-Barrier soloed in that match as well. Those matches as well. Like, it's just crazy. And yeah, you play like Thrust just to get those, or you could also Thrust for Engine sometimes too. Like, I was one game I thrusted for Bonfire, and that let me play like after I had a brick turn 1, and but and then last cards were a couple more thrust targets for Sanctum. Was pretty cool in theory because it lets you get to Lancia against Malice, and that's just an FTK that can't do anything. And then Feather Duster, I just wanted to have an out for you know, just in case there were rogue decks, you know, playing Floodgates or something. I don't know. And I put it against Memento. I put it in against a couple of matchups, but never resolved it all tournament. But I still liked having it there. That's the list. You know, huge shout outs to again the team, for everybody on Team Silverback, Trey, Johan, Shaq, you know, for just talking through like theory and play testing some games and just helping me to understand a lot of the interactions that I'd be facing going into the weekend. I think that really helped me prepare to play against Malice, to play against Ryzeal, you know. Thank you guys for watching.